the Town Council work session this July 25th, 2024. Let's have a roll call. Beth Justice.
I'm here.
Larry Tuning.
I'm here.
I'm here. Alana Courtney.
Here.
Mary Hanson.
Here.
Having a quorum,
Sure.
we can proceed. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. Mary Hanson.
Yes.
Alana Courtney.
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes. Takes
Next.
us a minute to make the motion when
More-
she's not here.
Yeah, I know.
But Mary Hanson is stepping up.
I'm stepping.
You'll know she is. All right. First is public hearing for the address is 201 Colorado. Martha, if you would like to take that, please.
Sorry, I just woke up from my nap. So this is special use permit application 03, and it is 201 Colorado. The owners are Brian and Jennifer Harrelson. It's to convert a detached single-car garage, convert it into an accessory dwelling unit for the accommodation of guests. The renovations include windows, decorative carriage doors, and a paver patio. The conversion is only going to be like a bedroom and a bathroom. It's not a kitchen. There will not be a kitchen. So like we discussed last night at Planning Commission, it's by our code definition of dwelling. It is not, but we're calling it a dwelling for just expediency. All notices have been sent out to adjacent neighbors. We had 2 responses, which you have either in your packet or on your desk next to you. One didn't get in the desk. Let's see, they're fine with everything. The Planning Commission approved it. We'll send it for recommendation for you guys for approval unanimously. Let's see. Ted, what am I forgetting here? I think all the utilities and various organs have been contacted, VDOT, HRSD. The only piece we heard back from was HRSD, and they wanted a rendering of his the sewer connection, which doesn't really pertain to us, and it's just going to come from the house. So everything is and he's just, it's essentially like I told them last night. It's an extension of his house without a hallway. And they decided to do this to avoid having to build an extra.
Extra bed.
Yeah, yeah. There's no.
It's
major
just for guests.
That's his intention. And we have 2 conditions we put in. One was no ingress or egress can be added to the Kent Street side, and the other one was no. And then Planning Commission last night added cannot add on to the building, to the garage.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is this the White House on the corner?
It's the garage that's right across from Bill Height's house.
But the
the
house is
garage.
right across the
Yes.
street. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you related to the
Alana?
people?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm always getting shocked.
So there's a road in between it?
No, basically the backyard is on Kent, the front is
Oh.
Colorado, so
kind
the
of on a
garage
corner.
itself is
On
on
the corner.
Kent Street, correct. Correct, and there's pictures of it in your packet,
Right. It,
North Send.
it crosses over from Colorado to Kent.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with it. It's a great spot.
Okay. Any other questions for Martha?
The only other question I have is one that I brought up the other night. Martha's going to give me dagger looks. And
No, I'm
that is, it's not really an ADU
We-
but we don't have anything else in our ordinance that we could call it, I don't think. Yeah, so, and my concern is always, does it create any kind of impact going forward of application of ADU to other things?
What is an ADU?
Accessory dwelling unit.
They usually have a kitchen. They're a standalone, kind of a little small, not more than what, 1,200,
So
1,400
in,
feet.
so it's,
Like definition.
section 1713.2 of the code is dwelling unit is a space within a building comprising living, dining, and sleep rooms, storage closets, and space and equipment for cooking, bathing, and toilet facilities, occupied as separate living quarters by a single family or other group of persons living together as a household, or by a person living alone and having its own permanently installed cooking and sanitary facilities.
So
That's our definition of dwelling. But it's still an accessory dwelling unit.
yeah,
Because
so-
it's an accessory unit and people
Yeah.
will dwell there, just it doesn't have a kitchen.
But it doesn't, well, it doesn't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but-
Right.
yeah.
Okay, all
That's-
right.
Okay.
Next is applicant presentation.
I don't have a formal presentation prepared because pretty much everything about the plan is in that packet. But more so than anything, I just wanted to come down and introduce myself. So I'm Lee Harrelson. It's listed as Brian in there. It's my first name. I go by Lee. But the other night we talked a little bit about some of the history of it, and I just kind of wanted to relay that to you. A couple of years ago, we bought that property very serendipitous because we were just driving through town and fell in love with it. You know, we've been trying to spend more time here, and what we were explaining was that you know, our bedrooms are tightly clustered in our house, and just for privacy, certain guests, you know, to have a little bit more space, we thought this would be a good idea, especially with the kids. You know, some folks, if they bring their family, just want to, you know, have a little bit of space. So thought it would be good to convert that garage versus add on to the other side of our house and obstruct our views. So that was pretty much why we bought the house, because we're across the street but still have really good views. Our property is very unique in that little area as we thought about it, because we are fronting on Kent Street and Colorado.
Right.
And so we always feel like our backyard is as important to keep neat as our front yard, which is a challenge with the weeds and things like that sometimes. But, you know, so we felt like beautifying the back, the garage itself, adding some nicer doors to the pretty, you know, spec grade garage door right now would make the whole thing look a little bit nicer. And so that was just part of the plan to do it, bring in a little bit of light at the same time. The question I have is that there's a condition that says no ingress or egress from the Kent Street side. From the carriage doors, if we put carriage doors in, it's going to be very easy for somebody to open a door like a very large door. It's not on Kent Street; it faces towards our property, technically.
This was additional, so.
Right, so no new doors
Correct.
facing, okay, so that's not a
Correct.
problem. But I just wanted to make sure that there's a door there. We're probably gonna open it. I don't want somebody getting mad about that. So, anyhow, but if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Beth,
No.
Larry?
Who were the people that owned it before you? What was the name? Do you remember? That owned it for many, many, many
Harris.
years.
Brendan Harris.
Oh.
You bought
it's
Brendan's
Brendan
house?
Harris's house.
No.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's
Well,
so.
the,
They're in the-
what was,
They're on the corner.
I thought your house was the white one at the end of Colorado.
there's one more house that's sort of off-white, that's right
Oh.
at the corner.
Okay.
And that's owned by Steve Volks, I think. Volk is his name.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm blanking on her name.
Sue.
It's okay.
Sue, yes,
Yes.
because her husband had recently passed away before
Right.
that.
So you
and
bought
then-
that house?
Right.
Oh, okay, I was
Yes.
thinking
That's the
it was
brick
the house
house.
on the end.
Yeah, and I guess Tegan was her daughter
Right,
that,
right.
you know, was, so,
Okay.
Good. Well, welcome.
thanks. Yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome.
It's a
So we
great
just
town.
want to spend more time here, so
Good.
we're making it happen.
Good.
We're bringing people with us, so,
Good.
yeah, so it's good.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Thank you. Welcome
Uh,
to.
public comment. Anybody sign up for public comment? All right, so there's no need to address the, public comment. I, close the public hearing, and now I guess we just have a motion to, could I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024 ORD 06, granting special use permit application 2024 SUP 03 for 201 Colorado Avenue.
I so move.
Second?
Motion is moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
All right. Beth Justin.
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana?
Yes.
Mary Hanson?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
Welcome.
I will send you everything tomorrow or Monday.
All right.
Well, yeah, that's what I figured. It was interesting, though.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. These are public hearings held under the authority of Section 2204 Code of Virginia 1950s amended, and the necessary notices have been given and advertisements made. The next item is for your zoning ordinance amendment. This is not a new topic for you. We've discussed this a couple of times leading up to tonight. What kind of gave this an acceleration was we started to receive a number of business licenses for people that were working out of their homes. Now, in the past, the business licenses have been issued routinely without any sort of review by the zoning official. So that changed this year, and we kind of came across this group of home occupation permits that when we got to looking at the ordinance, we found out that a home occupation has to go through the same process that this gentleman just went through. It has to go through the same process a small town burger went through. It's kind of convoluted for a very small business. In most localities, home occupations, these are businesses being run out of the home, can be administratively approved. So that's kind of what we're heading to with the first batch of amendments. The second batch of amendments really relates to a problem of just naturally allowing conflict to emerge in your land use. The current zoning ordinance allows for all R1 or residential single-family uses to occur in your B1 or your off-water commercial district. So right then you can see a potential for having some conflicts between residential uses and commercial uses. But you also have the potential to start losing commercial space to residential use. And not only commercial space, but the commercial, the enterprises that take place on commercial property. So you have the request before you is listed out as to all the sections that need to be amended to accomplish the change for the home occupation issue, and then the one or two sections that have to be changed to accommodate removing R1 uses from the B1. But when you look at their list, there were a couple of things that seemed like, well, that's not so bad, like utilities. You got to have utilities regardless, or parks and recreation. So like a waterfront park would be appropriate, or off-water park would be appropriate, like Tabor Park. I think I've already addressed it. Taken together, what these home occupation amendments are intended to do is to not make starting a business or maintaining a business in Urbanna as difficult as it would be if everybody went through the special use permit process. It's a costly process. It's a time-consuming process. It involves the public hearings. It involves the notices. It's probably more of a detriment to local business startup than it is a help. I think I've already addressed the R1 impact. Now, I will note that with the passage of the home occupation provisions, we get to clear the slate of a lot of technical violations with the zoning ordinance. With the change in the B1, we really don't have any violations that we know of. It's just a matter of trying to avoid that future conflict. You've got some comprehensive plan language that speaks not specifically to specific parcels, but you've got some general language about land use so that you develop the land in consideration of existing land use relationships, and also your economic development goals to encourage uses that don't create nuisances. I think I've covered the how this issue came to be. I believe I have also covered. Let me speak a little bit to the process. So what will happen is when someone comes in for home occupation, right now there's a section 17-5.2 which lists out all the criteria that have to be met to go for the special to go for the special use permit. Okay, so we would eliminate all that special use permit language and just boil it down to what's the criteria that has to be met. At your places, you'll see a draft of a home occupation permit, and that after you get through the name, the address, and all that sort of thing, those 7 criteria there, they all tie back to that section with 2 exceptions. One is parking. That's found somewhere else in the zoning ordinance. That's found under the parking requirements in the sign requirement. You can have a 2 square foot sign anywhere on your property for any purpose. So if you just want one that says, Casa Justice, you're good to go, as long as it's 2 square feet. So you could use your 2 square foot of allowance for your home occupation. So if someone comes in, they fill out the form, they agree to all those terms and conditions, the permit would be issued, not a problem. It's when they don't meet those terms and conditions, or they can't meet those terms and conditions, that they would be directed back to that special use permit process and let you all essentially call the ball. So I think that's is a summary of what you've got in front of you. Home occupation changes and elimination of R1 uses, most R1 uses from the commercial district. Be happy to take any questions you have at this time. Planning Commission did recommend favorably on both.
So the bottom line is, we're just trying to clean up these places that are either currently problems because of violations, so that those people that are operating small businesses don't have to go through the arduous task of getting a special use.
Correct. And we didn't know that they were out of sync until we started looking at the ordinance when we started first getting these business licenses in and say, well, this is zoned R1, how are they? And I'll say, I know of several of these that if you looked at the house, you could not tell that there was any kind of business going on inside of it. And that's a big, presentation is everything, sometimes people say.
And because of that, making it hard would also discourage them from declaring themselves and paying the
business license, yep.
But some of us have over the years. In my case,
Mhm.
where, nothing, you couldn't tell it was a business because it's a home and I
Yep.
work in my office and,
My case.
but I have a sales tax license for selling books where I go off different places and sell my books. I don't sell them there. Should I vote on this? Have I got a conflict of interest?
That question came up the other day.
Because I have a conflict of interest too.
I do too.
Yeah. My answer on this is what I like to call a diluted interest. There are so many people in the same exact situation that if your vote would be favorable to you, it's going to be favorable to many, many, many other people as well. I mean, so I call it a diluted interest.
Which means you think I should vote?
I think you can vote. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
That
okay.
we had the same question Tuesday night.
Are we at the point where I can ask a question or no?
I opened.
At the
But
place, so, yeah, question for Ted,
Okay,
yes.
for Ted, yes. The one other part that I'd hope you could clarify more because it's been a concern of many on council for a while, is the zoning change that would make it harder to convert a B1 property into an R1.
Okay, if someone has a B1 piece of property.
Yep.
And they want to, that's called a downzoning. And typically, if it's initiated by the government, it's
Yep.
looked at very carefully.
Okay,
If it's initiated by the applicant, then it's just another rezoning,
okay,
okay? But there's nothing that keeps anybody with a B1 right now,
uh-huh,
or, and this amendment wouldn't change that.
okay.
If they have B1 right now, they want to go to R1,
Okay.
R2,
So this amendment doesn't touch that.
it does not
concern.
change the map colors.
Okay,
It talks about what uses you can do in what districts.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Does this mean that, like what happened to the town hall couldn't happen now?
I'm not that familiar with that. Again, did you all rezone the town hall, or did you all do an amendment on the town hall?
What do we do?
No, it was put in there that any R1 could go in B1, and so any
Yes.
building in B1 could be turned into
Into a
home
residence.
or
So this
residence.
this would reverse that, yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
would reverse that.
For the reason that's been expressed to me is it opens the door to too much commercial property being lost.
Lost.
Even though it's zoned commercial, it's being used residentially. So you're not drawing the benefits from the economic side, the benefits. It's still going to be and I know what I would say this, it's all going to be assessed and thus taxed as commercial property, even though you're using it residentially.
And it can go
But
back.
you're losing that business, yes, and it could
It
go
can
back,
go back.
yeah.
I see what
And
you
in that case, yeah, we're not rezoning it, but it eliminates that use from being
yeah, it
done in the
doesn't
future.
affect anybody who's already done.
Right, there, that would be considered, that would become a non-conforming use or grandfathered.
Okay.
Yep.
Grandfather, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Ted? Okay, yes. All right, any public comment on that? All right. So there's no need to address those concerns. Let's close that public hearing. And now, do I have a motion to approve the zoning amendment 2024 ZOA 01 for, well, motion to approve?
Is that the home occupation?
It's both the home
both of them.
occupation
The whole
and
thing.
the
Both
B1
of
R1.
them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I so move.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion is moved and seconded. Do I have any further discussion on that? Mary Hanson?
No. Oh, yes to the motion. No, I don't have any further discussion. Yes to the motion.
All right, good. Alana Court?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning?
Yes.
Beth Justice?
Yes.
All right. Do we have any general public comment up there? Okay. Go beat the streets? All right. DMV Select is still on here. We were gonna, let me just say that Marjorie, Ted, and I met with Don Harris and Matt Walker, and who was the?
Anne Marie,
Ann-
Anne-Marie Ricardo.
Ricardi.
Ricardo, Anne Marie
Assistant County-
Ricardo, to discuss continuing the DMV Select, and it would appear that at least with the three that were there, that there's some appetite for them to help us share costs, and so they're sort of feeling out their side. I feel like Marjorie being so vested in this that it would be wrong to set those parameters with her absent, and so we're gonna push that down the line so that we can have an open discussion on what we would be willing to carry, so that we can make a presentation to the county to see if we can have some meeting, because I think we all agree that there's some benefit, but the question is, at what cost or whether we wanna carry any cost.
Right.
And so I think we need to have an open discussion on that. But the reason it's left on the agenda is I just wanted everybody to know that we did have the meeting, and they didn't say there's no way that we're gonna wanna participate. So that's where we are. Did you have anything else to add on that, Ted?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Can I say something about that? Have you all talked about, has anybody thought about maybe approaching them with, instead of having the office here in town, have it like at Cook's Corner? If the county is going to,
Those are the kinds of things that we,
might
I
pitch
can
in,
tell you that,
might make the
the
county more
indication that I got from Matt is that the people that he approached at the county level said they were not at all interested.
No, that was at the county. We didn't discuss any other location.
Yeah, we
Right.
didn't discuss
You're
it.
just trying to figure out how to keep it. Okay?
And so things that are still sort of on the table are whether they would allow us to do it part-time, whether they would, have a mobile unit that would come here periodically. But that's all stuff that's still pie in the sky kind of stuff.
What about Don? Did you talk to Don Harris?
Don Harris was at the meeting.
He was at the meeting.
Yep. Okay. Next action item is the audit. You may remember that we did have the audit, it's in your packet, was presented, we had a $21,000 surplus. Everybody was happy that we did it, but we did not formally accept it. And so that's a requirement that we need to complete. And
When was that?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, if I could just add, that's all correct. We kind of came across this looking at some of the paperwork for the USDA loan for Phase 2 on the well project, and with our auditor, and that's necessary to kind of close two loops.
Right.
That was an audit for last year?
22,
2022.
22.
It was already presented to us, Larry. We just failed to,
Have a formal
Yeah.
resolution.
right.
Are they gonna go along with an audit that old?
Yeah, they've already got copies of it. They just
Yeah.
were looking for the documentation that it had been
That we
accepted.
actually approved it. And I'm not seeing,
Talk something about doing that every year.
That is
don't
not, because the audit is so long,
Okay.
I did not put it in the packets that people didn't ask to be pre-printed.
no, I'm not looking for the audit. I was looking, we had a copy of the wording for a resolution to accept.
Yes, it's
Right
in
here.
it's in the staff, it's in this agenda
They may
item
not have
summary.
made that
I've,
packet.
I've got it
No.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you
Well,
like
if
me
you've
to make
got
the
it, then-
motion?
Any
Okay.
other questions?
I move to accept fiscal year 21-22 audit as it was prepared by Davis Associates CPA and presented to council on October 12th, 2023.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay.
Yeah, I think we should have audits. I don't know about every year, but maybe we ought to talk about every other year.
We're
or
pretty
something.
much required to have audits
Uh-huh.
every year at this
Uh-huh.
point. And that was, okay, this is a formality to satisfy the requirements that we have to fulfill going forward. Okay. Beth Justice?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana?
Yes.
Mary Hanson?
Yes.
Okay. Any announcements? I have a couple. One, I was negligent in not thanking Beth Justice and Sandy Sturgill for putting together the festivities that we had on July 4th and July 6th. Because it's,
It was crazy.
yeah, it was crazy.
Well,
And the
did a
weather
great
didn't
job.
really help us out much, but we tried, and there definitely were a lot of kids that enjoyed some of the stuff over
Loved
there,
it.
and so,
Well, and, just to mention, on Saturday, we had to cancel because of the weather. We didn't want to have the same thing happen on Saturday that happened for the band 2 days before that. So luckily, we were able to secure the band for the Labor Day. So we'll dance candy, they have the horns and everything,
Oh,
they do
nice.
like,
Okay.
well, I saw them this past Saturday. So we've got, we had already arranged to pay them, we'd already paid them a deposit. So instead of losing them, we went ahead and, move them to Labor Day. So know that they weren't there Saturday, but they're gonna be there Labor Day.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
So maybe you can make it Alana, since I hired them because I thought you would like them.
God, pressure's on.
And
Yes.
the last is, just
Thank
a
you.
public acknowledgement that the community lost a valuable member with Patty Lou at where
Oh.
the
Yeah.
sidewalk ends, and, it was sudden, caught everybody by surprise, but, she will definitely be missed. And I
Yes.
wanted to make a public acknowledgement of that.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything else to say? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Beth,
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.